So we are going to learn about inverse kinematics and forward kinematics, IK, FK rigging. So I just make a display layer for controls and joints and geometry. Okay, so we have got the basic rigging. We have completed the basic rigging and we have skinned it, and now apart from that, you can see here just clavicle, left clavicle. Then after this left clavicle, normally we got the main shoulder joint, elbow joint, forearm and wrist. We have got orient constraint for elbow and for all the here it's for the shoulder, and this one is for the wrist. So this orient constraint makes the rotation of these bonds, and same like this main shoulder joint, we have another source of IK joint and FK joint. I'll switch off this geometry, it can all visible. I will change the main skinned shoulder joint, elbow joint, and this one is the IK and the next one is the FK. So we have got IK joint, FK joint and the skinned major shoulder joint. So we are going to do constraining. For inverse kinematics, you'll be using the transform values of x, y, z to make the placement of the bonds, and for FK you will be using rotation values, rotate x, y, z for the placement of the bonds. So we'll be constraining this IK joint and FK joint for the main shoulder joint, and the same structure IK joint, elbow IK joint and elbow FK joint also constrained to this main elbow joint, and the same the wrist FK and wrist IK will be constrained to the main wrist joint. Okay, so right now I'm going to select shoulder FK, control shoulder IK and the main shoulder joint, which is a skinned joint of the skeleton. So I selected FK joint, IK joint and the main shoulder joint. I'll be coming to animation, constraint, orient. Okay, just add it. So right now I have got FK joint node of here and IK joint node here. Both are in value 1, and the same we will continue for this elbow. First select the FK elbow and then for elbow IK and the main elbow joint. Come to constraint, orient. Same here, you have got elbow FK joint and elbow IK joint. Just a minute here. So you can see here, and the same we will continue for the wrist. The wrist FK, I select the wrist IK and then the same wrist joint. Come to constraint, orient, you will get the fk ik constraint values for this. So right now if I'm changing this, yeah, it's all having the value 1. So what we can do is we have to limit the constraint values. If you are adding this fk control, you can find out another attribute here which I place for this curve. It's the left arm fk ik control. You will have an attribute ik fk. So normally for ik we will go to -10 and for fk we will go to 10. So from -10 to +10 your constraints will needs to be changed from ik to fk. So for that changing of the constraint values, we will be adding the set driven key. Okay, so what you can do is just select this switch, ikfk control switch, come to key, set driven key, set. So this is the driver. Okay, so you have to load driver. Now you have got ikfk switch here, and what we can do is we can select the constraints. Okay, so we have selected, first we will be coming to this shoulder, this is the elbow, and once it comes to this wrist you can find the wrist constraint also, the wrist joint. So these are the 3 orient constraints which we are going to add. So first of all we are coming to shoulder, so it is the load driven. Okay, so you have find out the value L shoulder fk joint w and ik joint w. Means we have to constrain these two fk and ik joint values. So first of all we are making ik, -10 is for ik and +10 is for fk. So in the value of -10 you can find out here, come to constraint, ik needs to be applied, the ik orient constraint needs to be applied, and the fk needs to be 0. Okay, so now select both, select this ikfk. So your driver ikfk control is selected, the orient constraint is selected, and your values, since the ik value is -10, so the ik constraint only will get the value 1. Add the key, I got the key now. And same here we have to select the elbow constraint, load driven, come to select both fk and ik joint values and make the values fk 0 and add key. So again for ik the value is 1, the constraint ik will be 1 and fk will be 0. So only the orient constraint for the ik joint will be affected to the main elbow joint. Okay, then we have to come to the wrist, load driven, select both fk and ik. So same here we are going to add 0 for this fk constraint, add key. So the key is applied, the change color, it will easily find out the value change. So now we are going to the fk. Okay, so now the value for this ik fk control attribute is 10, and we'll be, first of all we'll be loading again the shoulder orient constraint as a driven. See here, previously we have made the value 1 for ik. Right now we'll make ik 0 and we'll make the value of fk 1. Select these both fk and ik, add the key. Result is 1, means the key is applied. So again you come to the elbow joint. load driven. I have selected both Fk and Ik constraint values. So now the Fk is 1 and Ik is 0. Add the key. The next one, it is the wrist. Load driven. Select the Fk and Ik wrist. The Fk value needs to be 1 and Ik needs to be 0. Add the key. So both keys are added. The shoulder joint, elbow joint and wrist joint orient constraint values are added with the set driven keys for this Ik Fk control. So right now we are going to add the Ik. So just come to rigging. You can find out a create Ik handle option here. Just come to reset tool. So we have to find out the Ik joint. This is the R shoulder Ik and the wrist. So what we are going to do is we'll select the shoulder and the wrist. Press Alt H. Only this Ik handle joints will be visible now. So I'm going to add Ik handle. Select the shoulder, then select the wrist. Your Ik handle is added. Yeah. Then come to display, show all. Ik is working. You can add an Ik control, separate Ik control for this. So what we can do is create another circle and Ik control. Come to modify freeze transformation and come to edit, delete by type history, add it L-arm Ik control. Just parent this Ik handle to this control. So automatically if you are selecting the control, the handle will work. So the Ik is done, and this is the Fk. We'll check now. -10 value is for Ik and +10 is for Fk. So if I am changing even the Fk joint controls, something like here or even using here, just using this Ik Fk you can make the transformation from Ik to Fk. You can even key this. Come to 25 just for 1 second time. It is going to Fk. So there is no error, it is working. And the same thing, you can use this, you can constrain this to more and more options to get more controls for this. Even the arms, now the Fk control will not work properly because you need to add the proper constraints for that, and the Ik is here. If it's 0, it will have the value of the constraint 0.5 for the both. So it is a combined effect of Ik and Fk in the value 0, because the constraint values are in the mid 0.5. So if you want to make the IK animation, then come to value IK and you can use this IK control to place your hand. So I hope everyone can make it perfectly. So the IKFK rigging setup is over.